Imagine a world where the clothes you wear hold more sway than the words you speak. Sound absurd? Yet that is the reality for many women in positions of power, as demonstrated by a recent controversy involving Herald Sun cartoonist Mark Knight and Victorian Premier Jacinta Allan. Knight's decision to depict Premier Allan nude on a catwalk sparked significant backlash from women in politics, reigniting the conversation about gender representation in media. The cartoon references the famous Hans Christian Andersen fable about the Emperor's new clothes, a tale that Knight links to the Premier's involvement in the Commonwealth Games fiasco. However, the Premier and others argue that this is not an appropriate way to depict a woman. In a world that is well into the third millennium, isn't it time we moved past such sexualised imagery? Victoria's Public Sector Gender Equality Commissioner Niki Vincent found the cartoon tiresome, pointing out the common focus on women leaders' bodies and clothing. This, she argues, is another example of how to make fun of a woman leader. The cartoon has provoked anger among women in politics, with some privately highlighting how it is another barrier for women to enter politics. They argue that this kind of demeaning imagery doesn't happen to men. Liberal MP Jess Wilson pointed out that the cartoon detracted from important policy discussions. The focus should be on policy issues, not the Premier's clothes or body. Mary Crooks, the Executive Director of gender equality organisation, the Victorian Women's Trust, noted that she saw the same level of sexist and unimaginative cartooning over a decade ago, when Julia Gillard became the first female Prime Minister. Victorian Greens leader Samantha Ratnam called the cartoon disgraceful, demonstrating the need for more women in power. Melbourne Lord Mayor Sally Capp labelled the cartoon very disappointing, urging that it's important to call out such incidents. Former Labour Premier Steve Bracks urged the community to do better, highlighting that he was never subjected to such treatment during his tenure as Premier. Knight, on the other hand, denies the image was sexualised, stating he drew it as a fair political comment. He claims that the fable of the Emperor's new clothes came to mind during the Commonwealth Games inquiry, but the question remains, is this really about political commentary, or is it just another example of gender bias in media representation? This controversy serves as a stark reminder of the ongoing struggle for gender equality in media representation. It's high time we examine our attitudes towards women in power and their depiction in media. The conversation should be about their actions, their policies, their leadership, not their clothes or bodies. As we navigate through these complex issues, remember to think critically about gender representation in media. It's an issue that affects us all, and one that we have the power to change. So let's challenge the status quo, question our biases, and strive for a more equitable world.